Hi, my name's Sue. This is Sue Maree. I've discovered a melt-in-your-mouth spelt flour short crust pie crust, and I'm going to show you how I make it today. So in the bowl I've got white spelt flour, 370 grams, which is about 2 2/3 cup, and into that I'm going to add powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons. And you might be saying, hey Sue, I don't use white spelt flour, can I use whole grain? You can. You will just get a different texture, and I find that the whole grain flour is a little bit trickier to work with, so you might want to sift out some of the grain, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to mix those together, and if you don't use powdered sugar, you can use regular white sugar. I just found that this was inspired by a recipe from Bigger Bolder Baking in the US. She does it with the powdered sugar, and I thought it was so good that I wanted to share it with you. I've just swapped out the wheat flour for spelt flour. I'm just going to go to my fridge and grab the butter and water because it's meant to be really chilled. So I prepared my butter before I started filming. I've cubed it and weighed it, and there's 200 grams, because I'm going to make 2 pie crusts today, one for the bottom and one for the top. And if you just wanted the base, you could divide this recipe in half. So that's about 1 cup of butter. I actually have a combination of salted and unsalted because that's all I had in the house. I'm just going to bring this together with my hands just to make the butter combine with the flour. And this process takes a little bit of time, but you end up having a better pie crust. If you have a food processor, you can do it, and sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I do it like that. But this is kind of therapeutic. And this will just ensure that the pie crust is really buttery and melt in your mouth. And you don't want to use your whole hand, you just want to use the fingertips. Just to break the butter down and make it like breadcrumbs with the flour. So I don't have many big buttery clumps left. So the next step I'm going to do is add my egg yolks, but I'm just going to whisk them a little bit. I've got 2 here, I had them left over from another recipe. And we need approximately 4 to 6 tablespoons of water. So I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons to start with to each of the egg yolks. And then just use my eye to see if I need any extra. This is chilled water from the fridge. It's a bit of a messy process, and if you want to use gloves, feel free. And if you go overboard with your water and you think, oh no, Sue, I've done it wrong and my dough's too sticky, you can just add a little bit more flour. Just going to add a little bit of flour. This is rice flour. This is what I use when I'm baking and making bread or making pastries. So I'm just going to add my dough. Bring it together, and because I'm doing 2, I need to bring it together and then divide it into 2. Now if you like, I can weigh it. I can show you how to make sure you've got accurate amounts. But often you need slightly more for the base than you do for the top, because you've got to go up the sides. Do a 1/2 with an eye. So that's 313. And that one's 330. Okay, so we'll leave it like that. And I'm going to use that one for the base. So what I do now, I grab either plastic or paper. I'm going to do it in paper today. And I just bring it together so it's a really nice, smooth, kind of flat disc. I maybe should have added a little bit more water. This one's crumbling. But what I'm going to do is I set it in the fridge for, I'm going to do it for an hour. Actually, I'll probably do it overnight because I'm going to make pie out of this, but I just wanted to show you the first. I'll wrap it up. And then that goes in the fridge. So my pie crusts are ready. I'm going to leave these in the refrigerator overnight and make my pie tomorrow. You can leave these or prepare them up to 2 days before you're ready to make your pie, or you can pop them in the freezer for up to 8 weeks. So you can just make your pastry when you have time and pop it in the freezer, then get it out the night before you want to use it, and then get it out of the fridge to be room temperature for about 20 to 30 minutes before you roll it. Depending on where you are, if it's summer, you don't need as much time, but here we're winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and I always need about 30 minutes to get the pastry to room temperature, so it's easy to roll. So I hope you've enjoyed my how to make this delicious, easy, melt in your mouth spelt pie crust. And don't forget, keep an eye out because I'll release the pie recipe, a cherry pie, very soon. Thanks for watching. Hej då from Sweden.